How are you today? My name is Steve Turner. I am putting together a series called the Employee Leadership Series, and this is the next one in that series. This is some very foundational things today. It's actually what I learned coming out of my corporate career. I was at UPS for 35 years, 34 in the management team. I learned a lot about working with people, and it was all great. I'm going to share it with you. For particular reasons, right now, we are in a time in the history of business in this country where we are subject to the Great Resignation. And this entire series is an answer to what causes the Great Resignation. But let's start with some foundational things. First of all, me, just so you know who I am. Again, Steve Turner was at UPS for 35 years. I was 5 years in Europe, covered 10 different countries over there on the finance side of life. And I learned something, and I'm going to bring it to the bottom line. I learned that cultures vary, but hearts don't. People are the same all over the world when it comes to what's here and what are their true desires. And when we know and understand that, we have a lot of opportunities at our fingertips to lead people in the way they should go. Since I left corporate America, we've had an entrepreneurial life going here for over 10 years. And I have discovered that even what I learned in the corporate world applies in the entrepreneurial world. And why is that? People are the same all over in all business environments. So let's take a look. And I have a real passion about what I'm giving you today. I've lived this now approaching 50 years, and I'm sharing it with you today. One of the things that happened when I left corporate America, considering I'd been at UPS for all this time, I knew what life was like inside UPS, and tremendous organization. But I needed to find out what it was like in the rest of the world. So I had a study commissioned to take a look at this. And I'm going to give you just some highlight numbers from their study. Some of these are pretty amazing to me. First of all was this. Recent surveys showed that over 68% of employees are open to getting a new job. Now, the interesting thing about this is when employees are looking for a new job, they're not trying to get away from a company. They're getting away from their manager. So employees leave managers, they don't leave jobs. So this is saying that 68% of people would rather be working for somebody else. That's a startling statistic. 4 out of 10 employees blame their restlessness on the job on poor management style or lack of mentoring. And over 1/3 say that having a good manager is the most important determinant of their on-the-job happiness. And there's nothing wrong with on-the-job happiness. Everybody does a better job in that condition. Also, that managers are the missing link in effective organizational communication. Common complaints: lack of interpersonal skills, such as greeting employees when they walk in the door in the morning. A nice hello would be nice. The next two shocked me. Number one, inability to give clear direction and unwillingness to give feedback. Well, these two go together. We have a responsibility to train employees to be successful in what we've added them to the team to do. If you don't do the training right, the follow-up obviously isn't going to be there. But employees need follow-up to make sure that they are off on a good foot when they first get started. And then last but not least, lack of emotional control or propriety, such as yelling at somebody in front of the whole office. I don't propose anybody yell at anybody, to be honest with you. Not to mention in front of everybody else. So now let me look at this statistic. Who's subject to this? Anyone from a small business owner to CEOs of corporations. It doesn't matter if you lead one person or 100,000 or more. We are all subject to leading people in this way. The more the leader is withdrawn from the day-to-day operation, which is logical result of growth and a delegation, the more likely this is going to happen. And let me give you a quick illustration. In the first video of this series, I talked about this. I'm going to talk about it again. When a business gets started, here it is. All right? Solopreneur, he's doing all the work. Now, because the business starts to grow, right? And people get added to the organization. A new employee, a second, a third, a fourth. Now we need a manager to help those folks. So now the manager comes in and then another one, and the business keeps growing. But the person at the top, the business owner at the beginning, is becoming more and more separated from the day-to-day work. Now you take this into the corporate world, you've got multiple levels of people, which are all necessary to lead the business. But there's a big flaw that comes from this. Given that owners, whether you're a business owner, a CEO, are all accountable to themselves as owning the business, because we want the fruit of the business to generate a result, nothing wrong with that. Or you're accountable to a share owner who wants a return on his investment. Nothing wrong with that either. But what happens when this gap gets larger and larger? The people up here are looking at numbers. The people down here are doing the day-to-day work. And as you can understand, if the leader up here is looking at numbers and this trickles downhill, right? So now everybody down here looks at numbers. And then pretty soon, the one that's here leading these people doing the work are looking at numbers instead of leading people. Here's something for you. The word manage and the word lead get tossed around interchangeably at times. Nothing too wrong with that, except there's a major difference between the two words. If we look at our business, procedures, processes, and systems should be managed. Numbers are managed, but people need to be led, not managed. So if anybody is looking at their employee group as people to be managed, we're in the wrong place. They need to be led so they're motivated and inspired to take care of the things that are managed willingly. And if they do, sky's the limit to any business. I don't care if it's one employee or 100,000. It's all good. It's all a great place to be. So, how to close the gap? Very quickly, the leaders, as they come down into the organization, all need to be trained on how to inspire employees to want to be there, to want to do good work, and to want the business to succeed, as well as the leader. So let's take a look at some more things. So who is subject to the 68% statistic again? The demands of increasing shareowner value or the desire for increasing small business value, as I mentioned before, are all opportunities or situations where the 68% statistic starts to enter in. So these blinders on leaders looking at numbers creates survival-only employees. They're in for a paycheck, benefits, and get out as soon as possible, as opposed to leadership approaches that encourage success throughout the entire organization through thriving people. So, not surviving, but thriving instead. And the result is this. A business will experience stagnation due to employees who are just surviving, or they're experiencing abundance through employees who are thriving. And I can tell you from experience, when you have a thriving work group, as I said before, the sky's the limit. And the sky is the limit because you never know what's going to come around the next corner. And how great it is to have a group of employees that moves with you as you come around the next corner and as you run across the next challenge. It's very difficult when you have a leader responding to challenges, but nobody else is. But let's just say that with an inspired group of people, the leader and everybody else is responding positively to this new environment. So what is one of the hidden costs in business? It's opportunity cost. And what is the definition of opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is the loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen over the other or not chosen over what currently exists. So when we look at this from what I just got done saying, you can either have the average fruit of survivors or you can have the abundant fruit from thrivers. The difference between those two is opportunity cost. And we do not need to have them. So the bottom line question at this point in this message, in this section, is this. Where do you stand with your team? What is the percentage in your business? Check these signs for hints. Are your team members smiling when you walk around your operation, which I call MBWA, management by walking around? Are they smiling? Are they generally relaxed in their work? That doesn't mean they're not working hard. Are they relaxed in their attitude? When something goes wrong, do they look for a solution? Do they roll up their sleeves to help you? Do you know them personally? Do you know their personal goals? Think of these things, and you'll have an idea of where you sit in this entire atmosphere of empowering employees. If you are interested, you take a look at your business unit. And if you'd like to have some conversation about that, you can give me a call. No cost. Just let me know where you are, and I will try to guide you on where you are and what you can do to move in a better direction. So you can call me. Give me a call at 267-310-3569. That's 267-310-3569. We are Flow Business Solution, Steve Turner, and it's great to talk to you. Have a wonderful day.